are talking The Suicide Squad. This is the 2021 sequel slash soft reboot of the 2016 movie that was previously directed by David Ayer. I didn't actually mind the original Suicide Squad. I by no means think it's a great film or even a good film necessarily, but I didn't hate it. I still think I found it somewhat enjoyable. Anyway, so this is a kind of a similar film. We have a group of misfits that are all criminals of one description or another, forced to go on this kind of mission to invade this kind of South American island and do a thing, destroy a target, shall we say. And obviously the Suicide Squad, as you probably know, is they have little bombs implanted into their head, and if they go off task they will be exploded. And it's obviously quite a tough mission, and not everyone will make it out alive. What'll happen? Well, you're going to have to watch the movie to find out. So let's talk about what I think works in this film. James Gunn, I think, is a somewhat divisive director, but I do enjoy his stuff. I've enjoyed, you know, the majority of his films, right down from his kind of horror roots right up to his kind of blockbuster stuff. He does have a certain kind of rebellious streak in his kind of directorial style and sensibilities. And this definitely does push the boundaries of taste. I have seen some reviews here that don't like the movie because they think it goes too far in regards to cruelty or excesses of gore and violence and even nudity. But obviously we see plenty of that in the kind of the horror films and the kind of the B movies that we watch on this channel. So that for me is not going to be an issue. In actual fact, I enjoyed this somewhat of a more adult take on the kind of the superhero genre. It's probably most like The Boys TV show as the kind of its nearest comparison, but a little bit more kind of goofy maybe, and obviously taking more of a villain approach, so to speak. I like the fact that these characters, they're certainly not heroes. They are all pretty selfish, and none of them are particularly kind of altruistic. We get some that are maybe more so than others, but nonetheless, they are all, the majority, maybe with the exception of Ratcatcher 2, is probably the most altruistic of the bunch. But the rest of them, they're all kind of like some degree of demented psychopath or killer or something along the lines of that. But they have fun with the characters. This movie does such a better job of establishing, to be honest with you, a larger cast than the original movie, but we do feel like we get to know the characters a little better here. And, you know, some of the kind of the standouts, as I'm sure you all know, are going to be obviously Bloodsport, played by Idris Elba, who is the kind of I would say it's more his movie than anyone else. He's kind of like your main character. Maybe his character is a little bit too similar to Deadshot. In case you don't know, they didn't want to kind of recast Deadshot in case Will Smith wanted to come back to the role, so they've kind of got a practically identical kind of character called Bloodshot, and you know, and then said he's someone else, but he's virtually the same sort of character, to be honest with you. I think maybe they could have decided to go for a slightly different character, but there you go. But nonetheless, he's great. King Shark, I'm actually a bit of a King Shark fan, to be honest with you. I love shark movies. So King Shark was obviously one of the kind of obviously the ones I was looking forward to. I actually still prefer his appearances in the Flash TV show to this, to be honest. They've kind of made him a little bit more of a kind of a joke. He's like the joke character. But nonetheless, I still quite enjoyed him. There's a few other kind of standouts. I won't going to go on too much. Even some of those kind of the smaller parts, I think, were still kind of quite fun. And again, maybe those who don't have a particularly, you know, long amount of screen time, I still kind of enjoyed them. I think the kind of the mission that they go on is more interesting, and it's a little bit more kind of a different kind of vibe to sort of some of the kind of the other kind of the superhero slash villain sort of missions that you'll go on, although it does still feel familiar. You've got, you know, attacks on military, you've got, you know, smashing buildings and things like that, but nonetheless it goes into some kind of like, as I say, more kind of like horror territory in certain areas and pretty gory in places. I think maybe the movie's a little bit too long, not by loads. I was never bored in it, but I think it could have been just tightened up just a smidge. There are a few jokes here that I think maybe didn't work as well as they should. I think the main thing is going to be the taste. Like I've said, I think the taste here was absolutely fine, and I think, you know, for me it was hit just my kind of sensibilities. I would have actually liked to have seen some of the characters have a little bit more screen time have a little bit more of a mix, because there's without kind of giving anything away, there's two definite kind of camps of characters. You've got the ones that will last longer and the ones that won't, and I would have liked to have had a little bit more of a kind of sprinkling throughout, rather than the kind of the kind of the painting that this kind of film actually does. I think Margot Robbie is still great as Harley Quinn, although she doesn't have quite as much to do here, and you do feel maybe she sometimes is just there as the kind of the recognisable kind of character. I really enjoyed it. I thought it was a fun film. I've seen some people say, oh, you'll never guess who lives and who kind of survives. I pretty much thought who would survive, and, you know, would die, to be quite honest with you. I don't think it was any real surprises, if I'm completely kind of honest. But yeah, it's a fun film. I enjoyed it. This to me is certainly one of the better DC Universe, because it does have that element of fun. It has that element of edginess, and I think they've let James Gunn kind of just do what he wants to do to a certain degree, without being shackled as much with the burden of having, you know, a lot more established characters, maybe with the exception of kind of Harley Quinn. I'll give it a 7 out of 10. It's a fun movie. I enjoyed it. Have you seen it? What did you think of it? Leave me a comment and I'll look forward to seeing you next time. Bye for now.